Hello everybody, GSP here, back with a new video. Today, we'll be talking about how to do stop motion, and generally how you make a good stop motion. Now, we start with preparing the set, and characters and also script you normally do at the end. Now, when you're doing the script, we'll go over a little bit later. You want to first off plan out your characters. So let's go start with the set. Now, the set, you gotta design it first. Before you even take a picture, you always want to make sure that you are happy with the design and think that it's gonna be generally great and potentially show some story that you have to obviously tell. The characters, it depends what you have. We could take Sanemi here and generally make sure that he acts how he does in the script. But whether this is this blue plastic thingy, you mostly want to decide how it moves. Like could just move like that. And generally you want to decide how it speaks later in the script. But generally when you're taking a look at a lot of the time, characters in particular always have a certain theme. Like my example over here, Sanemi, he's portrayed to be angry majority of the time. And he's generally portrayed to be menacing to some people, obviously. Not Master Ubushuki though, because generally he respects the master. And also because common person, I guess. But back to majority of it. When doing the set, particularly, you want to make sure you have detail. You want to have, like I said before, you always want to do step 2, you want to make sure the set, first of all, building the set. The set normally would have, for my example from the Sanemi series I'm doing, you would see that the set, this main little whiteboard set that I use, it has more stuff getting added to it more and more. And if you take a look at it from a standpoint, you can easily add more stuff to make it like full on bit. And if I just move you forward here, you can see that it's got some stuff added to it. Obviously the set's now starting to come down because I don't know, obviously it's going to be having a lot more stuff added to it, but generally set wants to always appear. Now, step 3 is the motion. Now, the motion, you can have some funny times, like, where's Nezuko? Good old Nezuko. Now, she is top heavy. It's all her hair. All of her hair makes her top heavy. So, when you apply white tack, blue tack, whatever tack you have, or sticky stuff, not that, or like a substance that will help them stand, because or holes in your set to make them stand easier, with like just rods going to their feet. Generally, that's how you make them stand. But we got some complicated scenes, obviously, with falling scenes, climbing scenes, as example from episode 3. And generally, scenes requires a lot of action. What then you have to do is use your hands, but then try and bend it like this. Like, I could show you now, but let's go. Let's take Zenitsu here. Now, you can see, if he's coming off from my left, let's put him in a fighting pose here. you want to try and avoid having your hand in the way. Obviously, sometimes you can't have that and you can see your thumb, but even then, you can generally replicate that. And if your character has movable foot physics, like Zenitsu, you can potentially even hide your thumb a lot more better. But generally, when it comes to it, you also want to make sure that it's focused, so it's not a blur. But obviously focusing to an object, like to take it from about this far away, you want to focus it in on it so you can see it much more clear. Example from episode 2, from Tsunemi Against the Universe. So generally, nice little fun fact. It takes at least 20 frames to 15, not exact, depends how many you're doing, to make 1 second of stop motion. So let's take Nezuko again because she's the closest. For a simple high, that'll probably take about 2 seconds, wouldn't it? Now, that will be about 40 to 30 seconds, 30 frames of one little movement. Now, sometimes you use cheat codes, like just simply if it's like fast, you do 3 frames, so that's less than a second. But if it's only just like that, you want to have nice frames like that. And obviously, some also suggest is the stop motion apps, or just generally just a camera. Then you have to find the time to put all the photos together in that little sequence, which personally I don't really want to do, so I just use an app. Now we've made it to the boring part of the boring part of stop motion, when you don't do motion at all. You just do adding your voice. But now we're going to go on to the script from step 1. So the script is always going to be your last thing to do, because it's you writing down how these characters will say, speak, or generally act, like in their voice, or like sound effects. You add sound effects later on. Generally, when you're looking out from Tsunemi, he's angry, he is once again menacing, so you want to make your writing match that. You want to be focused on something that's you're angry at it, you want to show you're angry at it, you want to pretty much just hate the world with Tsunemi, or a character that's similar to Tsunemi. Let's take random Demon Side character Tanjiro. Generally, Tanjiro is a nice guy. He literally always is positive, even in battle sometimes, but he's very intelligent. He's intelligent and then kind. Not many people have that ability to do that, because sometimes be self-absorbent. But generally, when you're writing a positive character, you want to have a majority of the time positive things. Obviously, this character's going through something, you want to add some negative sometimes to change it up. Then obviously, going into editing, some fun times with editing sometimes, I would say. You can add sound effects, you can literally, you have to find a sound effect, and if it's, you can find some silly sound effects on CapCut. It's literally the most funnest thing you can do on your average day, just going through CapCut to find sounds later for your video, and you just random sounds from the internet, or CapCut's own edition of these sounds. But generally, if for the editing apps, I'll suggest CapCut, potentially some other stuff as well. Maybe your own editing software that you have on your computer, if you do it by computer, or on your phone if you have a phone. Generally, when you think of your own OC character, or most people they don't know it's an original character, you can, it's fun to decide how it acts, how it says stuff, how it's precisely how its mind acts, how it generally acts. That's why story time, storytelling can be fun. Just the writing part can just be a little horrendous sometimes if it's a book like this. Generally, you have reached the end of how to make stop motion. Now, you can now be on your way to make potentially a good or bad stop motion. But obviously, it takes a lot of patience and care. This is GSP signing out, and thank you for listening for this tutorial. See you in the next video. The next video is probably most likely be stop motion anyway.